Hey sister, welcome back to Holistic Moms. I'm your host, Shan. Today we have a special guest with us. I'm super excited to share with you. Her name is Bekah Yawn. She serves women in their journeys to get pregnant naturally. And as a FEMM educator and certified FIAT hormone coach, she is well respected in the fertility and education community. She loves helping women learn magnitudes about their body and how to support it naturally. This is a great interview. We pack it full with so much about her story and about birth control and about how to just care for your body holistically. Your hormone health is so important, and God designed our body in a certain way. So she really talks to that. She actually gives us great, courageous action steps at the end. So you have to listen the whole way through and find out the two very simple, courageous action steps that she has us take, that she took in her own story, and it changed her life. So go ahead and listen to this whole thing and find out those at the end. And, we have these precious gifts from God given to us. And whether you're, wherever you are in your motherhood journey, we have this other precious thing called time. And it seems that once you have kids, time just flies by, right? It literally flies by, and you're like, well, the days were really long when they were 5 months old and I didn't get any sleep and they were teething. But now the years are flying so fast. And we're about to have our birthday week. It starts tomorrow. 3 of my 4 kids have birthdays this week, and that means they all are getting older. And it is just such a shock to me every year, and how fast time goes. So, Mama, I know you're like me and you want more time. You want it to slow down. You want more time with your precious kids, but you also want more time to care for them well, and then do all the other things you have to do. You have so much to do. You got to take care of the house. You got to put some time into your dreams and passions and your pursuits and this purpose that God's put in your heart. You have time to do these wife responsibilities that you have. Serve at your church. You have responsibilities, and there's so much to do that you want to do. You want to do it all well, and there just doesn't seem to be enough time. Okay, are you feeling me? If so, then I've created a workshop just for you. It's called Find More Time Workshop. This is a short, obviously, I know you don't have time and you're looking for it. You're looking for more time. So this is a short workshop. It's only 45 minutes, but it's going to be packed full with help, tools, strategies that God has given me to find more time in my busy life. So I want to share them with you. And it's absolutely free. And it's going to be a fun 45 minutes. I have it at lunch hour so that you can be feeding the kids, or maybe they're down for a nap and you can be fully engrossed in it. And maybe that time doesn't work for you. Time, we can't find it. So maybe that time doesn't work for you. It's going to be recorded. So I would love if you still signed up for the Find More Time workshop, and then watch it on your own time. And maybe that time is in the bathroom. That happens to me a lot. But wherever it is, you're going to find time to invest into your wellness and how you can find more of God's time for your body and your wellness and for your kids and for your holistic self. Okay. So I'm so excited to share this with you. Go head over to www.theshanwright.com/time. You can save your seat for that right now at www.theshanwright, right with the w.com/time. Save your seat today. I cannot wait. This is on March 19th, so it's coming up. Would love for you to get your seat saved, and even if it's for the recording, do it. You're going to be blessed by it. I know it. All right, friends, let's get into this episode with Bekah.
One word people have used to describe me most of my life is emotional. That isn't a stretch because, yes, I am a female. But when I was described as being so emotional, so moody, especially as a teenager and in young adulthood when puberty hormones were just strong. And I just accepted it as me, that I was just going to be extra emotional. And let's not mention how I was practically giving myself whiplash once a month because of these said emotions. This continued for years, and not where I'm impossible to live with, but just I used it as a crutch month after month. Oh, I'm getting my period. Or, oh, that's why that happened. Sorry, it's my period. Sorry, it's that week. But something changed all of that this year, and I can finally say I am over those PMS symptoms. I started taking intuitive nutrition that is hormone and soy isoflavone free to find balance and empower my hormones naturally. It's patent pending, unlike anything else, and instead of interfering with natural hormone balance, the menstrual and menopausal formulas deliver key nutrients and potent botanicals to support the female body in every phase and every cycle. Hormones are chemical messengers telling your body vital information. If you have heavy periods, cramping, mood swings, low libido, bloating, hot flashes, night sweats, brain fog, acne, and more, your messengers might need additional support so you can feel your best. Andrea says, because I'm feeling my best, I'm also momming my best now. Michelle says, now all my days are good days. I don't need to blame my hormones anymore. It's just me. Take the fun quiz in the show notes to see if your hormones are telling you that they really need to be balanced. Also, you can find a ton more information at the link in the show notes. Hey mama, are you stressed by the lack of time in the day to do all the things? Are you feeling disconnected from God, your husband, and even your kids because patience and presence seem out of reach? Do you want a healthier body, mind, spirit, and home, but overwhelmed in where to start? Hey, I'm Shan Wright, daughter of the king, wife, mom to 4, RN, wellness coach, and I know very well what it feels like to want to live well, but about to lose it with my very blessed full life. After realizing I can't pour from an empty cup, I tracked my way to whole body wellness and so much peace. If you are ready to cancel the stressed out life, learn tactical, intentional strategies as a mom wearing many hats, find more peace, confidence, and joy raising kingdom kids, then listen in. Come on, mama, together we got this. Really, God's got this. So go heat up that coffee again and turn your listening ears on. Let's chat. Okay, Bekah, I am so happy to have you on Holistic Moms. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you're a part of the same coaching program I'm in, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And when I saw what you focus on, I knew this conversation was going to happen at some point because I cannot wait to talk to you about this.
Yay. I know. I'm so glad you reached out to me. I'm just starting to reach out a little bit more and all of that. And so when I saw your stuff, I was like, dang, she's my person. We could totally talk. So
Yes.
exciting.
Yes. And I actually haven't even opened up a lot of this conversation about hormones on my podcast yet, except we have had 2 episodes. One was with a hormone expert and people loved that episode. So I know they're going to love this one too.
Awesome.
So yeah, as a nurse, I'm aware of hormone health, right? And I became even more aware of it this past year. No, it's been a full year as I worked on a launch project for hormone balance. And really, what we worked on, or what we were really trying to get at with all of it, was education and how to break the stigma of women sharing about their hormone issues and just even periods in general, right? It's something so
Yeah.
hush hush, and we all deal with it, and just all the things that come with it. And just to be vulnerable and to put your story out there and then literally rewrite your story in better ways, because there is so much out there now to take care of your hormones. We know so much, but
Yeah.
people stay under this blanket and then they don't open themselves to all the great information. So I really just want to start with you being vulnerable and sharing your hormone story with us.
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. Well, I was just kind of your standard. I consider myself like the standard chick who didn't know anything about their body, basically, like growing
Yeah.
up and all of that. I was a athlete growing up. I was a swimmer from like 6 years old to 21. I swam in college,
Oh,
and
cool.
I was on and off birth control for 14 years. So I'm gonna just start it with that. I know
Wow.
later, but I had like crazy intense periods from a very early age, and
Mm,
PMDD, which is like severe PMSing, when I was like
yeah.
11 or 12. And so,
Oh,
lo and
poor
behold,
baby.
I know, right?
I have an 11-year-old soon. Poor thing.
Well, listen, you just come to me, okay? Because
Yeah.
I'm like, that may have just been normal of my body
Yeah.
being like, oh, hormones, hello, we don't know what to do with you. So they put me on birth control. So,
Yes. Yeah.
like, oh man. Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of how everything started, and got married when I was, I don't know, 20. And so then I continued to be on the birth control pill for the first few years of our marriage. And honestly, my husband and I just weren't 100% certain. We're very strong believers. And the only thing that I loved our couple who counseled us in marriage. But the only encouragement that they gave us was just make sure whatever you use, it's not abortifacient, right? We don't want to
Yeah.
use anything where your body could conceive and then, the baby, it's a hostile environment. So, the baby miscarries. And so that just sounded horrific. And so we were always like kind of tense about the birth control pill. And so we'd asked every single OB or every single doctor I'd had, like, okay, well, is this abortifacient? How does this work? And they would kind of explain it to us, but we still like just wouldn't really understand. And we weren't really sure if they knew or if they understood,
Yeah.
like if that could happen. So that was always kind of a hesitation in our mind, but we plugged along with it, choosing some type of pill that we thought was hopefully okay. We got off of that after 3 years of marriage, and we're ready to conceive. And I didn't do anything for my health. So, ladies, just listen. If you
Yeah.
are
Listen up.
Listen, like if you're on the pill, like there's something you got to do after you get off the pill before you get pregnant for the health and wellness of your future baby. Please take a hot minute, do some detoxing, listen to Shan and all her holistic
Mm,
stuff, because there is so much toxicity in the birth control pill, and your body needs a hot second to get rid of that. But I didn't know that. So I got off the pill and we were just like, oh, whatever happens, happens, as most people do. We got pregnant within 3 months, and immediately I was diagnosed with a thyroid issue, which was likely from the pill. And
mm-hmm.
so I was dealing with that. I dealt with on and off preeclampsia. Other than that, that pregnancy was healthy. And then I moved into postpartum after giving birth. And at that point, that's when God really convicted us of, you don't need to keep doing this pill thing. Part of it was like I started taking it and immediately triggered some bleeding. I was like, heck no, I am a breastfeeding mom. Like, no. So
Yeah.
I just stopped taking it, and I was like, I think I'm never gonna do that again. And but then we didn't have any other options. So we kept asking and pestering our doctors about, okay, well, we know we don't want to do this now. Is there anything else we could do? And the answer was always no. Like, here's your IUD, here's your
Mm,
pill, which one do you want? And that was pretty frustrating, but we didn't know any other options. So we just
yeah.
went along with it. A friend told me about, oh, just take your basal body temperature and follow it, and it totally works. Oh my gosh, that was the worst piece of advice I have ever been given, especially,
Really?
oh my good gravy. Like when you're in your postpartum phase, you're looking for ovulation, and a basal body temperature is only going to let you know after you've ovulated. So I took that temperature
Yeah.
faithfully and observed our second child being conceived. So
Well, and also like that might work in certain seasons and certain times of your cycle, but not postpartum because your
right.
hormones are out
Yeah,
of
my
whack.
periods hadn't come back, and so I was like taking it's really funny.
So when
um
did you conceive? How
about
many months?
8 or 9 months postpartum. So yeah,
Okay.
so it was on the first ovulation that my body did, we got pregnant.
Mm,
So that was fun. And
yeah.
and kind of similar stuff. Like I was still dealing with the thyroid issue,
Mhm.
and then on and off preeclampsia. and just still living in this, like I was so healthy. I mean, my children were
Mhm.
made of Chick-fil-A and McDonald's sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit sandwiches and Cheetos. Like that's what
Those
they are.
cravings. Yeah.
So, and I just didn't know how important it was for diet,
Mhm.
how that could have impacted their health in so much, better ways, and my own health as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it was rough. So had that baby. And then again, we're in our postpartum phase, and now we're in a very kind of stressful season of life. We moved from Oklahoma to Colorado and moved like 2 or 3 times. So lots of stress going on. We moved into this
Mhm.
new house. Our 2-year-old broke his leg, and there's just like lots of craziness. And then I just wasn't feeling well, and I took a pregnancy test, and we were pregnant. And so I was just like,
Mm.
okay. And so by this point, I was like, hands up in the air, whatever. This is just always it. And honestly, looking back, there was kind of a lack of reverence for that life that was given,
Mm.
and just not, it wasn't truly honored and cherished. It was just
Yeah.
kind of took it for granted. And so we just went along with things. I wasn't taking care of my body. I didn't know that that was a thing that I should have been doing. I was also under a lot of stress from my job. And then my husband and I wanted to find out the gender. We had 2 boys at that point, and we went into a 15-week ultrasound, one of those little boutique places to do the 3D, 4D thing. And there was no heartbeat and no movement. And
Mm.
so from there, we went to our doctor's office, and just kind of were hoping like that lady had a faulty machine or something.
Yeah.
Obviously terrified, and checks out, our baby wasn't alive anymore. And it
So
was,
sorry.
yeah, it was really terrible. So
Mhm.
so we had that happen and delivered her. And I just remembered the Lord saying, I was looking at her, her story will be for my glory. And I didn't know what that
Mhm.
meant at that time. But here we are now. So fast forward, we were again in the same frustrating spot of, okay, I am now not healthy. Something is going really wrong. Not only did we miscarry her, we still didn't know how to, avoid pregnancy naturally at all. And we conceived again back to back 2 chemical pregnancies after that. So 15-week miscarriage, and then a 4 to 5 week miscarriage, and then a 4 to 5 week miscarriage. And by that point, I had texted a close friend, and I was just like, yeah, it happened again. My doctor doesn't know why. She said we could do some testing, but they can't really figure it out. They can never really know for sure. And she was just like, girl, you can get better answers than that. And that moment, that text was kind of like the ticking point in my brain of like, oh, I I can ask a different opinion. I can seek help.
Yeah.
Like there
It's
could
like,
be something else.
yeah, and that's so crazy because it's just such a simple text from a supportive friend. Like a lot of times we don't know what to say in those situations,
Yeah.
but she said something simply that was also very powerful, and it gave you, when you're feeling weak and defeated, it gave you that autonomy that you needed.
Yeah.
And yeah, just bless that friend.
I know. I know. Yeah, she is a very good friend. So we got really humble, I say. We went to our Catholic friends and we were like, yo, what are y'all doing? Because you clearly
Hey,
know
this is
how
what I
to
did. This is what I did after my first pregnancy. So
really.
this is cool. Yes.
Yes, I love it. And I mean, because like, I mean, I grew up Protestant and everything. And so
Mhm.
we know our friends, and we're like, okay, they're clearly spacing out their children, and they clearly know what they're doing, but we don't know how they're doing it. So we're like, all right, fine. Like, let's go over to their house and ask them questions. And they were so sweet and so amazing. And they were telling us about all these things. And I just remember leaving that conversation and my mind exploding about all the information they shared about how God designed us and how God designed our fertility and our hormones, and how we could naturally of just like monitor our bodily signs. I was like, this is some kind of weirdo language magic. I don't understand this, but it was so interesting. And so then I just dove into the world of fertility awareness, and
Yeah.
we picked a method and we started charting with it, and we were like so proud that we were avoiding pregnancy naturally. We were like telling our friends and our family of like, yep, we know what we're doing now. So,
Yay. Yay us.
um, but it was truly a season to take a break to figure out what was going on with my health,
Yeah.
because I was clearly having a lot of issues. So we were doing that to give ourselves a break, and it was a beautiful blessing. And then I found something called a hormone coach, and her name, I don't know if you've heard of her. Her name is Jamie Rachi.
No.
She's the founder of the FIAT Institute. She has a podcast as well, The Hormone Genius, and
Mm.
got hooked up with her, learned so much, and she really supported me with those lifestyle changes. So I became a hormone coach because I was like, I want to help people,
I
you
love
know,
it.
with their hormones and their fertility journeys. And I also got certified to teach one of those fertility awareness methods. Because again, like me, so many women just don't know about their body and charting and what it can tell you. So we charted faithfully and continued making lifestyle changes. Like we did a lot of changes, until we just felt the peace from the Lord, and we could observe it on the chart that things are okay and we can conceive. And so we did that, and the Lord blessed us with another baby girl, and she is 10
Yeah.
months old now, and she is
Oh.
such a gift. And so we're very thankful. And now I'm just getting to serve other women who are in tough spots like I was.
Oh gosh, Becca, I love your story.
Thank
That's
you.
so great. Um, okay, so I'm gonna rewind though, and we're gonna go back to the part where most people, even if they are believers, most people see birth control as this thing their doctor gives them after their pregnancy, or even as soon as they get married. Like for me, I started it right before my honeymoon. And I ended up only taking it for 3 months because it made me feel awful. And then I just told my doctor, like, "I don't think I can take this anymore." And she was like, "So you wanna get pregnant right away?" And I'm like, "Well, if that's what God has, because I don't know what else to do,
Good
and I
for you.
don't wanna take this," you know?
Yeah.
And, I also was starting to talk to those Catholic friends of mine. So, um, but yeah, so a lot of even believers just start on birth control right away, because their doctor says, and then they have their pregnancy. And then literally, when I went into the doctor's office, and this is a new doctor, I went in after my pregnancy, and she said, "Okay, here's your IUD," and I'm like, "No, I don't want this. Like, why would you just
Wow.
assume?" Because that's what they all. But no, I shouldn't say all. That's
Right.
what a lot of regular medical doctors do. So, um, what is the problem with birth control? And when I was on this launch project for hormones, natural hormone balance, I had this conversation a lot because what is someone to do for contraceptive? And when we on this project, we're balancing hormones naturally, and it's not a contraceptive. It is learning your body and your hormones and all of that the natural way. And so people are dumbfounded. Well, what do I do about not getting pregnant?
Yeah.
And it's hard to give them an answer. Um, so yeah, just share your viewpoint on birth control.
Yeah.
Why you said it's toxic. So why is that? And just yeah, what does the Bible say for believers to do if it's
Yeah.
not birth control?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'll share a couple things. So the first thing we'll go through is, what does birth control do to your body? Okay,
Hmm.
so your body in a regular cycle has these beautiful hormones. I'll talk about four of them. The first one is follicle stimulating hormone, FSH. And that's basically goes from your brain to your ovaries and says hi to a little egg and starts developing it and growing it and maturing it. Now, as that egg is growing and maturing, and I smile when I'm saying this because I just like see God's finger doing this
Yeah,
the whole time, you
so
know?
cool.
So as that little egg is growing and maturing, estrogen is increasing. As estrogen increases rapidly, it triggers for your brain to send another hormone called the luteinizing hormone, or LH. So a lot of you listening may even be familiar with what that is if you ever have peed on an ovulation strip. That's like what that is the LH hormone. So LH fires and it luteinizes or ruptures the follicle, and the egg releases, and that's ovulation. Okay. And then after that happens, estrogen goes down and progesterone rises. And progesterone should be beautiful and all of that. And so with all of those hormones, with every single one for what's happening, it is having a biological, beautiful effect on your body that is healthy and in God's design. And it's also having an emotional and mental effect on your body that is within God's design. And I can talk more about that if you want later, but you just let me know. So that's God's design for the woman's monthly cycle and hormones for those things to be happening. Now, let's talk about when you're on birth control. When you're on birth control, I'll talk about like the synthetic hormonal birth control, which is the same thing if you get a hormonal IUD. Okay, so either of those, same thing, stick in your arm. If it's got synthetic hormones in it and it's called birth control, which most of them are, not all of them, but most of them, this is what's happening. So they have a synthetic hormone in there called progestogen. All right, it's sneaky. It's a sneaky little stuff. Because it's like, oh, it looks like progesterone. It's fine. It's not fine. It's gonna screw you up. Like it's gonna mess you up. Okay. So
That's awful.
yeah, so progestogen acts like progesterone and it inhibits FSH from firing. And so when you don't have FSH, no follicle gets matured and grown. So that means that you don't have any estrogen. And that means you don't have any ovulation. And then that means you don't have any progesterone. So, in layman terms, when you're on birth control, it's like you're living on cycle day 3 in your life all the time. And picture, like, how do you feel on cycle day 3? You just want to like go and, hike a mountain and just love everybody? No, you don't. It sucks. So, and that's what it's like. That's how you feel.
Well, I got to tell you,
Yeah.
I wore this shirt and I did not even know it was for you. I just put it on today. But I'll tell the listeners, it says the best period because I'm in the days of my best periods and I'll have to tell you about that later. But cycle day 3 is actually easy peasy for me. So I want to go hike a mountain.
Good girl. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I'm in the best period.
That's awesome. Now, the majority of people would not say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's something to be reflective of. Like when you are living with no hormones, it sucks. It is outside of God's design.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my first answer to your question. And I know you asked me another one, but you might.
Well, how is birth control? How is it toxic? So it's stopping the FSH from firing, but how is that toxic to, and we've been hearing more and more, and I've been hearing a lot because I'm looking into the research, but all the long-term effects that it is doing to your body, especially like yourself, like you took it for 14 years, like that has had long-term effects.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the toxicity of the synthetic hormones, like you're ingesting, going into your bloodstream, into your organs, a dosage of synthetic hormones every single day, except for when you're doing the sugar pills and it's a withdrawal. And so the impacts of that, I just imagine, like, would you go to the doctor every day and get an injection of synthetic hormones? Like, you know how people like it just doesn't work. It's going to clog up your liver. It's going to cause endocrine disruption. When your hormones aren't flowing and ebbing and doing what the Lord designed them to do, that's when we get, like I said, endocrine disruption. So you may have thyroid issues. There's a lot of correlation between thyroid dysregulation from those who are on the birth control pill. When you have thyroid issues, then you're at a higher propensity for just longer term health issues and high propensity for miscarriage. And you can have cortisol issues, blood sugar issues. It depletes your body of vitamins and minerals. And then there's the long-term effects of you're at a much higher chance of getting breast cancer and cervical cancer. The birth control pill, when you're on it, studies have shown it ages your cervix twice as fast. Yeah. So, I mean, you wonder why, like all of our fertility rates are just pooping down. That was a terrible choice of words. But wow.
Again. It's okay. We're all about
here. Okay. Toddler moms, right? Okay. Yes. So, I think in the background I heard like my toddler like maybe flushing the toilet. I don't know. But it really makes things go down when you're go downhill when you're on there. So
yeah. Our other hormone expert that was on, she was talking about how when you have synthetic hormones, whatever it is, so people are, getting testosterone these days in my age bracket. And then, you're always on, when you take birth control, low dose estrogen. And when you take that, it's like you're giving a steady dose. They can't change your pill each part of your cycle. We're actually, during our cycle, we are on a roller coaster, and our hormones are on all different levels, and different ones are on different levels, but you're just taking one steady dose. So it's not treating your body with all the things that it has going on. And then it's messing up your other hormones. So it was like such a great picture for me, because we, sometimes we get frustrated with our bodies, and it's like, yeah, I feel like I'm on an emotional roller coaster. But if you can learn how to balance the hormones, then you're not straight lined and feel nothing, and you're not on a crazy roller coaster. You're just feeling the flow of the cycle, which is what, God wants us to be happy in all parts of our cycle, not just hating life for 5 days of the month. And then, I forget the numbers, you might know, but how many days out of the year we're on our period. And then, do you want to feel awful all those days? I don't think God wants that for us.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a huge point. Yeah.
And then, like, a lot of times I hear people don't want to do, or they want to take an IUD, just for the simple fact that then it limits their periods, and they're only getting their period once every 3 months or something. And that sounds like really great to them.
Yeah. Well, my question for that person would be, go talk to the 50 and 60-year-olds at your church. Do they still have their uterus? I
Yeah.
know that's a big, bold question, but the people who are taking this, having the IUD, having the Nexaplon, the birth control pill, like, it's going to have long-term side effects. So you suppressing right now how God designed you to be and live, it's going to have consequences later on in life. And I mean, infertility it's one of them, honestly, which is so sad and frustrating. But fortunately, there are things that we can do to detox from that post-birth control syndrome to support your body for fertility. But it's something where I just encourage every believer, have a solid conversation with God on this. And I do encourage you guys can come to me, because learning a fertility awareness method, it's 98% effective at avoiding pregnancy. You do not need to take something that is going to have all of those horrible side effects on your body to avoid getting pregnant.
Yeah, that's so encouraging, because like I was saying, we don't know what we don't know, and we hear from our doctor, who we trust, this one and only way. And I love that you're telling all the moms out there, or women that want to be moms, I don't know where everyone is, but that there is other ways, and there's ways that honor your body the way that God designed it. And that is just so encouraging, because really, like, medicine is humans' way, and God's power, God's ways are higher than ours. No matter if it's like the best doctor in the world or whatever, his ways are always higher, and his thoughts are better. And we can just trust that and know that he created all the ways. So ask him.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So yes, if you guys are wanting to know all the ways in depth, Bekah has an amazing podcast called For the Love of Hormones, which I love. And she also has, so she teaches all her ways on there. And you also have a course. Is that up and available?
Yep, it's up and running. Yeah, it's called
Okay.
the Fertility Framework. So yeah.
Okay. So yes, if you, yes, go check all her stuff out. Obviously, it'll be in the show notes as well.
Cool.
So yeah, we love to get really practical here on holistic wellness, holistic moms, but in our holistic wellness. And so, can you share? You had these miscarriages. You had this, um, you know, really crazy story, but I think a lot of people can relate. And you had to do something. You had to literally take up courage and pursue wellness, because you and your husband were without answers. What did you do? What practically, can you give us a couple steps that you actually took?
Yeah. The number one thing is learn to chart your cycle. And I honestly see our bodies as temples of the Lord, because that's what scripture says. And we are to take care of our temple and be responsible for it. And I'm very convicted that a woman charting her cycle in this day and age is a gift of knowledge from God, and it's a responsibility. So, number one, chart your cycle. Number two, pray continually, asking God, okay, Lord, what are you wanting me to tweak to honor the temple you have given me? And I know that's what you talk about so much, about helping moms with their holistic living and their holistic choices to be better moms and wives for their families. And so that little question every day we should ask, Lord, is there anything, and be willing to obey, is there anything you want me to tweak to better support the body that you have given me so that I can better serve your kingdom?
Yeah, search me and create a clean heart within me. That's awesome. Those are very, practical things that we can do. We can do both of those things. And do you have, I know there's lots of apps out there to track your cycle. There's lots of different ways. Do you have your preferred way?
Yeah, so I would encourage the FEMM app. It's FEMM, Fertility Education and Medical Management. So that's a great place to start. They're pretty clear on there. You just click the little eye buttons for like, what does the light blue and the dark blue mean, and all of that. But if you get started on there, that's a great place to start. But again, being educated in what it means and how it works and having professional eyes on interpreting your chart is a big deal, because that's where we learn what's going right or what's not going right,
Yeah, I love that. Just being in tune with our body, which is, yes, right, what I talk about, because instead of just focused 1000% on the kids, we have to take care of our wellness so that we can take care of them well.
Mhm.
And as women, our hormones, our cycles are a huge part of that.
Yes.
Um, okay. And then obviously going to God with, we might laugh at that and think that it's silly to be like, God, what do I do with my hormones today? But it's really legit. Like, he cares about every little detail. And so I love that you gave us that action too.
Mhm. Awesome.
All
Thank you.
right. Yes, you were so helpful today. I know a lot of people probably were writing down stuff and getting a lot of information from this. So I appreciate you sharing your knowledge with all my listeners. And again, I'm going to put your links in the show notes, but just to reiterate, where can they find you?
Thank you. Yeah, if you guys just go to bekahyawn.com. I got a weird name, but BEKAHYAWN, like you're tired.com.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, Bekah, it has been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey, Wellness Warrior. I pray that blessed you. And if so, it would bless me big if you would write a 5-star review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Not only would this make me super happy, but it will allow for others to find this show too. Also, I love to chat over on Instagram, so make sure to take a screenshot, share to your Instagram stories, and tag me at the Shan so I can see it and we can keep chatting and bring other moms to chat with us. Until we get to chat again, mama friend, may the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace.